Hello viewers, you are welcome to the Smart Student Academy. This is your channel if you are a student aiming at scoring straight A's in your final examinations. This is the arena for champions who will settle for nothing less than pure academic excellence. Come with us as we show you the strategies you need to achieve your academic ambitions. Today's discussion is on the topic effective way to answer WAEC English language comprehension. First, I shall explain to you step by step how to approach the subject of passing WAEC English language comprehension, and later take you through a practical demonstration using the 2016 past question paper. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and let's begin. What is comprehension question trying to test? Comprehension questions aim at testing three things. Number one, your understanding of a passage. And number two, your ability to express that understanding clearly and succinctly in writing. And thirdly, your understanding of other aspects of grammar and the English language usage, including knowledge of synonyms, antonyms, figures of speech, use of idioms, grammatical functions of some words or group of words, such as noun phrase, adverbial clause, and others. Now let's look at practical rules guiding how you should write your answer in comprehension question. One idea per sentence. That is, don't miss 2 or 3 ideas in one sentence. Just one idea in one sentence. And that is it. Number 2, use your own words as much as possible, unless the question asks you for a quotation from that passage. Examiners penalize direct lifting from passages. And number 3, be specific. Avoid vague replies such as "they ran away." When the question demands "they ran very fast," "they ran very fast" is very specific, but "they ran away" is too general. Number 4, support inferences. Always link interpretation to the passage. That means your interpretation should not be outside the passage. Should not be based on what you know before concerning the topic being treated in the passage, but should be found within the passage and the passage alone. And number 5, use correct grammar, correct tense, punctuation, and neat handwriting so that you won't lose the expression marks. These are the rules guiding how you should write your answer. Now, let's move on to another aspect. What examiners are looking for in comprehension questions. Number 1, content. Examiners want accurate and relevant points which directly answers the question. And 2, they are looking for evidence, for opinions or inferences, and a clear link to the passage. And thirdly, they are looking at your expression, correct, concise sentences, appropriate vocabulary, with no spelling mistakes. And next, conciseness. Full but economical answers is what they require, without unnecessary detail or repetition. Because if you repeat or give too much details, you shall lose marks. Conciseness. That is it. Now, as we move on, let's look at some common pitfalls to avoid while answering comprehension question. Number 1, copying long phrases from the passage. That is what we call lifting. It's a big pitfall. You must not fall inside it. 2, giving answers that are not supported by the text. That is guessing. You don't have to guess. Whatever answer you are giving or going to write should be found inside the text. Number 3, being too brief and omitting required detail. 4, poor sentences construction and careless spellings. And last common pitfall to avoid is missing parts of multi-part questions. Now, having given you the common pitfalls to avoid, let's now go to the main thing by looking at steps to follow when answering WAEC English language comprehension. By following these steps meticulously, you should be able to conquer any question on English language comprehension. Number 1, preview the questions briefly. This means that you should look at the questions first ahead of reading the passage. So don't even start reading the passage as soon as you grab it. No, first look at the questions. To do this, quickly scan all the questions to know what information you must look for in the passage. Information like facts, reasons, meaning, inference, references, and others. This will direct your reading towards searching for the answers to those questions by the time you start reading the passage proper. We can call this targeted or purpose-driven reading. That is, reading with the purpose of finding the solutions or answers to the questions you have previewed ahead of time. Step number 2, read the passage for gist. This time around, read carefully through the passage to grasp the main idea, the tone of the passage, and what the passage is talking about. Is it about agriculture? Is it about engineering? Is it about travel and tours? Just read to get this main idea. And number 3, read again and annotate. What do I mean? To annotate means that you should take note and label important information by underlining key lines. That is, as you are reading, underline key lines, names, dates, and any sentence or sentences or section that seem to answer or contain the answer to all the question or any of the question you read earlier on. Then, write brief margin notes. That is, at the margin of that passage, you should write some information there. For instance, causes. If a paragraph is talking about the cause, what caused something to happen, write it at that margin. The effect, that is what happens due to those events. Then reasons or contrast, and so on. For longer passages, it is better you number the paragraph so that you will know which paragraph contains which fact, information, or answer that you are looking for. To demonstrate this point to you, I have deliberately numbered the paragraphs in the passage of today. When we get there, you will understand. Then, step number 4, locate and answer factual questions first. What do I mean by factual questions? Factual questions are those questions that start with who, what, when, where. Quote only if the question asks you to quote. Otherwise, always answer in your own words in one clear sentence. Be precise and brief. Step number 5, handle inference and explanation question next. Inference and explanation questions are those that ask why or how something happened. That is asking for reason or explanation about how something or why something happens. State the inference in a simple direct sentence and support it with a short quotation or a precise reference, e.g., because the writer says, that is after saying the answer, and you now say because, blah, blah, blah. That is to support what you have just written. Now, I want to warn you here. Examiners expect reasoning that is grounded in the passage, not reason found outside the passage. Please take note. Don't bring in reasons that can only be found outside the passage. Let all your reason be something you can infer from the passage only. Then step number 6, deal with language and structure questions next. For vocabulary, provide a contextual meaning. What do I mean by contextual meaning? Meaning that is embedded in the way the passage is written or the language or style used. So, for your vocabulary, you should only provide a contextual meaning, not necessarily a dictionary meaning. This is important because words sometimes take a particular meaning based on the contextual usage. That is, how they are used in a passage. And this may not be exactly the same as the dictionary meaning. There could be a slight difference. That is why you should go for the meaning of a word or statement or phrase in context within that passage. And for grammar or phrase function questions, give the grammatical label and a one-line justification where it fits the sentence. Step number 7, ensure that you answer all parts fully and check to be sure. You know, many questions have 2 or more parts in one. You have to answer each of them. Yet, we have some questions that have multiple questions embedded in one single question. Can be 3 in 1. So you need to look closely to make sure you do not miss out any of such embedded questions to avoid losing valuable marks. Circle each of the multiple embedded questions in one to be on the safe side. This will ensure you don't miss out any of them, because each one carries its own mark. Step 8. After finishing, reread your answers quickly and correct your grammar and spelling mistakes, and ensure that you actually answered the questions posed. Now, having explained all the 8 steps to follow, let us now demonstrate how to answer a typical comprehension paper. We shall be using the 2016 WAEC past question. First, let us start with step 1, which says, briefly preview the question. So, where we are now, we want to apply all these 8 steps I just explained above to a particular question, 2016 WAEC English language comprehension passage, so that you see how we apply those steps one by one. So, let us start. Here are the questions asked on the 2016 WAEC English language comprehension passage for our preview. Question A. Why are the narrator's father warned the boys not to go out at night? Question B. Quote a phrase from the second paragraph that shows the teacher's house was very close to the narrator's. The third question. What made the teacher notice the boys? Number 4. Explain how the narrator got injured. Number 5. Why did the narrator's father refuse to open the door at first? 6. The passage contains the phrase, an instant alarm, in quote. Now, identify the grammatical name or classification of this expression as used in the passage. We are referring to an instant alarm. And question 2 on that same quote. What is the function or purpose of the expression in that sentence? So after that, we go to question number 7. The passage uses an expression like ran like the wind, here in quote. What figure of speech is this? And 2, what does it mean in that context? And the last question here, for each of the following words from the passage, give a synonym, that is, a word or phrase that have the same meaning and can replace these words. Now, here are the words: recent, delicious, stealthily, approaching, spotted, and verified. And those who are the questions. Having reviewed them together, let's now go to step 2, which says, read the passage for gist. And I want to remind you too that step 3 also says, read again and annotate. That is, as you are reading the second time, take notes and label, underline or circle key lines, sentences, paragraphs that seem to have the answer to the questions you have previewed. Now I'm going to combine step 2 and 3 for a reason. I shall assume that we have read the first time for the gist, and that now we are reading the second time, and we are going to go through the passage together. My reason is to make sure that this video is not too long. However, I shall read slowly enough while I want you to annotate as we go along. You read along with me and annotate, please. Constantly look at the questions and take note of the sentence, paragraph, or section of the passage that contain the answers to the questions or any of the questions. To make it easy, I want you to wind back this video and copy out all the questions so that you can constantly look at them on paper in front of you and note the portion of the passage where the answers are located as we read along. So, as we shall be reading, I want you to constantly glance at the questions on the paper and take note of any portion where the answer to each of the questions can be found. Please, wind back the video now and copy those questions so that we can continue. I hope you now have the question written out on paper right in front of you. Now, read the passage along with me and annotate. When we get to any point or section as we are reading, and you believe it contains the answer to any of the questions, pause or stop this video and annotate. Then we move on. Here we go now to the passage. 2016 WAEC English Language Comprehension Passage. Paragraph 1, labeled as P1. We believe that the teacher will not be home that weekend. My father had strictly warned us not to go out at night, since recent happenings have shown that it was unsafe. However, the thought of those mouth-watering fruits in the teacher's compound made us spend many sleepless nights. We decided that fateful night to sneak out and get some delicious mangoes to feast on. That was paragraph 1. Paragraph 2. Towards midnight, my 2 cousins and I crept stealthily out of the house. The fresh air invigorated us. The moon shone with unusual brightness, and that enabled us to see our way clearly, and the ripe mangoes as well. We soon reached the teacher's house, a stone throw from ours. We climbed over the wall as nimbly as monkeys. Paragraph 3. Since I was skilled in climbing, my cousins asked me to go up the tree, which was laden with mangoes. In no time, I reached the branch which appeared to be most heavy with fruits. I shook it, and many juicy mangoes fell to the ground. My cousins gathered them into their bags as we blessed our stars for the windfall. Paragraph 4. Suddenly, the powerful headlights of an approaching car warned us of impending danger. To our amazement, it was the teacher, and he had already spotted us. In my haste to get down, I lost my balance and fell heavily, injuring my arm. My cousins ran like the wind and escaped, leaving me to my fate. I attempted to run away but could not. I lay in the ground, groaning in pain. Paragraph 5. The teacher raised an instant alarm, and the neighbors came rushing to the scene. I pleaded with them not to harm me. The teacher and another man lifted me up and brought me to my father's house. The teacher called my father to open the door, but he did not answer. "We have your son here, and he is wounded," the teacher explained. "My son is sleeping peacefully in his room," my father retorted. Paragraph 6. My mother, who had been awake all this while and listening to these exchanges, went into our room to verify the truth. My cousins pretended to be fast asleep. When she discovered my absence, she gave a heart-wrenching cry, which at last brought my father out. He took the whole scene in at a glance and stood speechless, gazing at me in shock and disbelief. He thanked the teacher profusely. After my mother had bandaged my arm, my father sat me down and rained abuses on me. I broke down in tears and made a clean confession. This softened him, but did not prevent him from giving my cousins the spanking of their lives. And that was the end of the passage. Now, hoping you were listening and reading along with me, now I want us to look at answers to the 2016 comprehension questions. That is, questions on the passage we have just read. Let's take the question one after the other, and then we talk about the answer. 1. Why had the narrator's father warned the boys not to go out at night? I think this answer was found in paragraph 1. The answer is, he warned them because recent happenings have shown that it was unsafe to go out at night. The second question, quote a phrase from the second paragraph that shows that the teacher's house was very close to the narrator's. And the answer is a stone throw from ours. So if a place is just a stone throw away from a reference point, it means that place is not far. Now let us continue. Question number 3. What made the teacher notice the boys? Answer. The powerful headlights of the teacher's approaching car made him notice them. Question 4. Explain how the narrators got injured. Answer. He lost his balance while trying to get down from the tree hastily and fell, injuring his arm. Question 5. Why did the narrator's father refuse to open the door at first? Answer. He refused because he thought that his son was already sleeping in his room. Next question. The passage contained the phrase, an instant alarm. Identify the grammatical name of this expression as used in the passage? Answer, noun phrase. Here is the explanation. It is a noun phrase because it contains a determiner and an adjective, instance, and a noun, alarm. Question 2. What is the function or purpose of the expression in that sentence? That is, what is the purpose or function of that expression, an instant alarm? Answer, it serves as the object of the verb raised. The next question, the passage uses an expression, ran like the wind. What figure of speech is this? Answer, simile. Here is the explanation. It is a simile because it compares one thing to another using the word like. I'm sure your English teacher must have taught you this. So this is not where we are teaching simile now. But at least that's a good reminder. Now, what does it mean in that context? So what does run like the wind mean in that context? Answer, it means they ran fast. And the last question, for each of the following words from the passage, give a synonym, a word or phrase meaning the same thing that can replace it in the context. And here are the answers. The word recent has the synonyms that can replace it in that passage as follows. Latest, not long ago. Delicious can be replaced with sweet or tasty. Approaching is replaceable with coming or nearing. Spotted with saw or noticed. Verify, confirm, check. And that was the answer or the right answers to the questions asked on that passage. Time will not allow me to take a typical answer that an average candidate will produce to let you see how candidates makes a lot of mistakes and lose mark thereby. But let me just say, all those instructions that we have had earlier, plus the one we want to add now before we round up, please just take note of them, and it shall be well. Now, let us move on. It is not enough for you to have gone through this exercise with me. For you to really master what I taught you, you have to have short practice and then listen to the final checklist. You must practice one passage daily for a week. Practice, they say, makes perfection. So after that, you can turn it to 3 passages a week. You time yourself. Use some past questions to do this exercise. Next, you must read widely. Read newspapers, essays, and short stories to build speed and vocabulary. Now, let's look at checklist before you submit your answer script. Once you finish your exams, ask yourself the following question before you hand in your answer script to the examiner. 1. Have I answered every question? If not, go and do that. Are the answers concise and in my own words? Check if you have lifted any word. Reframe everything and replace with your own words. Have I supported any inference with reference? Are my spelling correct and punctuation okay? Please check them. For the multi-part questions, or multiple embedded questions in one? Have I fully answered all? If not, please go and do that. Please hit the subscribe and like button before I give you my final advice and draw the curtain on today's discussion. Also share the link with other students like yours and your friends. Be your brother's keeper. Be free to explore this channel for more videos like this. We have plenty of them and new ones are constantly being uploaded. My final advice is this. Comprehension is a skill. Systematic reading, clear thinking, and disciplined answer writing win marks. Practice with many past questions. I repeat again. Practice with many past questions. Be deliberate about it. Learn to cite the passage briefly when needed. And always keep the answers clean and precise. I wish you the best of luck. Bye for now.